All right, guys. So on a scale from 1 to 10, how important is looks when you're trying to find your forever person?
I mean, she is fine, so.
Okay. Period.
I want to be attracted to the person. I mean, we go off of face value. That's what catches your eye. Either the look, the fit, the smell if you're passing them by. So, give it like a 7 if I have to give it a number on a scale of 1 to 10. It does not get the top though because looks change.
You're right. Okay, looks do change.
And I'm not talking about just age. Like you can get injured, you can get a scar, you can do something to your hair and it's like, that's not cute anymore. So the face is transient. But of course you want to be attracted to the person. So like 7, maybe 7.5.
I would agree. 7, 7.5.
7.5. Okay.
There are too many factors
Honestly,
that go into
7.5.
And remember, your personality also makes you cuter.
I can 100% agree with
So you could be fine and be like, oh, Lord, Jesus, no. This is not going to work.
Or you could not be so fine, but then you have a lovable personality and it makes you look like a 10.
Right. I used to think that his ears were going to be a bother for me. I don't even look at them things.
Not his ears.
They're so little.
They're small.
But he said my gums, when I smile, I show a lot of gums. So he thought that was going to be a thing.
Her mother had a good laugh at that.
It's not even a thought anymore.
See, that's communication. She talked about his ears.
And I had one ready.
He talked about her gums. Nice. All right. So I have a question for you, Branson, as a man.
Yes.
I think there are a lot of women out there who desire to be married, but their partner has not made the move. And we're talking like 5, 7 years of dating. And so question number 1 is, in your opinion, how long do you think it takes to know you found the one? And then, like, when people are grown, how long do you think these women should be waiting for marriage?
So I always try to remind myself that we were young, quote unquote young, when we got married. But for me, I think it took maybe just a year for me to fully know. Now, that's not a year for me to be ready. That's a year for me to decide this is what I'm going to invest my time in because marriage is the goal. And I think that's a really big point, intention.
Right.
Like, if I intend to marry you, I'm going to work towards that. My actions are going to reflect a goal of marriage. If marriage is not the goal, if just dating you is the goal, my actions are going to be a little different. They may be non-committal. They may be a little bit more fluid and look like, oh, you're just here, you're just around, which I think a lot of relationships reflect. For me, even when I proposed, I had to come to a point, and I've been asked this when I was younger by some of my friends and frat brothers that were like, how do you know when you're ready? And it became a point of recognizing I will never be 100% ready. For me, when I was younger, the checkpoint was I mentally have to be at a place that if I am going to take responsibility for her from her father, which she lived in her parents' house, I had to be able to provide what he was providing. And that may look like a certain level of lifestyle when we're older, that people say, oh, I have to be able to maintain her lifestyle. I think it all came down to wanting to grow with somebody. Yes, I wanted to make sure that she was taken care of the way that her father took care of her, but that's not the goal now. My goal now is to make sure that she's, yes, well taken care of, but she's an independent woman in her own right. She has gotten multiple degrees since we've gotten married. She now has been a nurse for a number of years, right? She's not the same person as when we got married. But for me, that did not necessarily shift my responsibility to take care of her. But she can take care of herself. So even now when we're older and saying, like, what am I waiting for? I mean, you shouldn't be waiting to take care of her 100%.
Right.
Because she's her own person. But y'all should both be in it to grow together. And you'll never be 100% ready. So what's the reason not to get married?
That's a good one. Y'all heard that, ladies. All right. So next, okay, you guys, you've dated, you did your courtship, you dated, you got engaged. So on your wedding day, on a scale from 1 to 100, how ready do you think you were to be married to one another? And then how sure were you that you all were the right person for each other on the wedding day?
If I had any doubts about getting married, I wouldn't have gotten married.
Okay.
Even if after I had said yes at the engagement, if throughout that engagement period there were doubts of anything, I would have pumped the brakes. I understand money and all that, but this would be cheaper than a divorce a year or two later.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But I was sure. I would not. I had the normal considerations of what role I was taking on. I've never been a wife before. I've never lived with a man before. I've never been responsible for taking care of someone else outside of like my brother and my sister. And what my mother, what society has taught me what a wife is supposed to be. Those were things that I wouldn't call them a fear, but those were the heaviest things on my mind when it came to, okay, I gotta be ready. But never a doubt of, no, I don't want to get married to this man. How sure was I on the wedding day? For sure. I wouldn't have said yes to the wedding. At the engagement, to be honest, my mother taught me from young, let the people know where you stand at the beginning. So at the end, if something happens and they do that thing, I already told you. So for he and I, we never had those kind of issues where it was like a doubt in my mind, like he still does that, or there was none of that. So I was sure then and more sure now.
Ooh, nice. Another 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years.
Yeah.
Correct. Each decade is just adding to the another decade. About to be out here centurions.
What about you, Branson?
It's funny because when I thought about it on a scale of 1 to 100, I was 100. Like Dinah said, if I was not at 100, then that means that there are more conversations and more discussion that should have been had before the wedding day. And I'm not even taking into consideration engagement period, right? There are all kinds of things that I think people are not aware of. They kind of start once the engagement period starts. Mentally, yes, it's a preparation for a wedding, but it's truly an agreement between two people to start preparing for marriage, for what their life looks like after that.
Right.
We moved in together after we got married, and that's one of those checkpoints after the marriage, but also you're planning for that ahead of that time. So during that engagement period, I think if you're not already at 100 when you engage, when you propose, it has to be 100 when you get married. It should be there by that time. And if not, like Dinah said, you should pump the brakes and figure out what those next steps are.
Okay, that's a good point that you brought up. So I think a lot of people are very focused on, planning this beautiful dream wedding, because sometimes they do neglect, what's going to happen in the marriage, the real on the marriage. So for people who don't know, what do you find is the difference between like planning for the wedding and then planning for a marriage, a long-term marriage?
There's a pastor that I listen to, and he says he wants to do premarital counseling before they get engaged. And you asking that question, preparation for marriage starts the time that y'all are saying, okay, we're going to date to see where this goes. When you're dating with an intention of becoming serious, you should be prepping for marriage right then. And not even as though, you're going to be my husband, but just foundational things like we talked about, those 5 must-haves that you need to have. Do I have those with this person? And then the length of time of your relationship before the engagement, you're going to interact and encounter different things, stuff at work, maybe a loss of a loved one, an issue between the two of y'all, somebody showed up, an ex showed up. All of those things, did they make you stronger? Did y'all work through that? Did you conflict resolve well? Did you communicate through that and decide, okay, if I had to do this for the rest of my life with this person, I still can. That is all premarital prep. That's all should be done before the engagement. Once you become engaged, definitely premarital counseling. I don't know how many people have not done it. Or if it is, it's not what you need. It's not at the depths that you need it. Our premarital counselor is my godfather, but he has been a youth pastor, life coach, counselor all my life. And so our premarital counseling was over 6 to 8 weeks.
Yep.
We had a binder that we had homework. We talked about everything under the sun, finances, children, the conflict resolution part, how we're going to live. We made out a budget of how we're going to live. What happens? What do you think about this when because people, especially he's been married for 40 some years, people from outside know the things to ask for when it comes to a longevity of marriage.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people skip that because it's like, well, I love him. He makes me feel good. Our families get together. We've been together for 5-7 years.
Yeah.
The 3 years that we've done, it has been good, but they didn't get those things that once you're locked into a marriage, there's a responsibility. There is, what is the word? Accountability to that person for that person that changes once you get married. So you need to have those things prepped because it's not an easy I'm out once you get married.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially if you had a big old wedding with all these people,
Yeah.
it puts
Especially
more
if you had a
pressure
big
on
old wedding.
you.
Yeah.
It puts more pressure on you to feel like, I got married and
Right.
now here I'm looking like I want to leave him or leave her.
Right.
This is not working out the way I want to. Or even using divorce as an option.
That's
In
a big thing.
premarital counseling, the first session, do you plan on getting a divorce? Are you planning on getting married to get a divorce? No, we're planning on married to stay married. So you're planning on staying married for the rest of your lives. Yes, then divorce is not even an option. It's not even a word in your vocabulary.
The word does not exist within our relationship.
And I think because it does not play a factor in our relationship, it improves our conflict resolution. I'm not leaving you.
Right.
To say that I pray that we never be in a situation where I'm like, I feel like I need to go out. And I feel like that may only happen if he changes on me. Like he, as a person, that man that I married changes. But outside of that, I believe that we can get through anything. It might take months. It might take therapy. It might take even a break where you go here and I go here. But this is so we can come back together. Those are the things that you need to be looking for when it comes to the premarital prep, because that's what a marriage is. The wedding is just a day, a very expensive, beautiful, life-changing day, but a day.
Oh, okay. That's a good one. So you guys have been married for 10 years and 3 months and 10 days.
Very close, very close.
Yeah. So I guess my question is, what is the greatest myth that you think that people have about marriage?
The marriage is going to change someone. Ooh, I didn't have one earlier and I have one now. Look at that. The marriage is going to change someone. Like after we get married, they're just going to switch up.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's my husband now, because she's my wife now, things are going to change. Just like when people are like, we need to change, we're going to bring a baby into, I think that's madness. I'm going to bring a baby into the play because that's going to make us stronger.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no. Okay.
When we change, she'll stop. When we get married, she'll stop spending so much money. When we get married, he'll start coming to church. And it's a wide spectrum of those things that people expectations. And then they're very surprised when either nothing changes or people's true colors show.
Right.
And they do very drastic differences from what they expect.
Right. So basically what you see is what you get. And hopefully it doesn't change for the worse whenever you get married. But yeah, some people can keep up a facade for a long time.
Yes.
Until you get married. And even then, moving in with people, you learn a lot of stuff when you move in with somebody that, you never lived with. And so, yeah, I think that's a really good point. And so 10 years, as we know, marriage, it's beautiful, but then it can also have, the ugly parts. I don't want to say ugly, but it can, right? And so what are some ways, in addition to, of course, conflict resolution, you guys have had to, figure out your way through that.
Thankfully, we already had strong communication skills. They got stronger because they weren't the strongest. Right? So, like I said before, I don't like secrets. I don't like holding on to things. I believe that's lying. I don't believe in lying. So, I tell the truth. That's one of the things you need to do. Tell the truth. I think that helps with the longevity of a marriage. But when it comes to conflict resolution, Love languages. Everybody knows about the love languages.
Yeah.
But nobody knows about the apology languages.
Ooh, I actually haven't heard of that.
Yeah.
School me.
Still, Gary Chapman, who does the love languages, he also has a quiz on apology languages.
Ooh.
And just like you need to speak to somebody in their love language to receive what it is that you're trying to give them, you also need to apologize in that way as well for it to be received and for you guys to grow.
That's a really good one.
And so I took the test last night because I took it maybe like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So let me retake it to see if it's still the same. Let me see if I can remember. Asking for forgiveness. What is asking for forgiveness? Planned change. What's the other one? Anyways, mine is planned change and accepting responsibility. That's one of them.
So that's what Branson would need to do to apologize to you.
Correct. For me to accept the apology and for me to believe that change is going to happen.
Right.
Those are mine.
Okay, got you.
And so when it comes to that conflict resolution, if I don't say what I want, which remember was my issue, can sometimes still be my issue of not saying things because I'm scared about his feelings, then I'm not going to get a plan for things to change, for things to get better. And if we do hit a roadblock or some kind of things that disconnect or interrupt our connection, I need to come back and talk to him so that I can see that he's sorry. That's what I need, though. That's what I need as far as, I need for you to recognize what you did and accept that.
Yeah. Okay. So a lot of people asked when I was, asking for questions, they wanted to know how kids can change a marriage, or they definitely change it. So how kids definitely change a marriage.
It changes the responsibility.
Yeah.
Before it was just he and I. We, either did something together or we were doing it separately. There was nobody else to consider. When you introduce children, you are more divided. You have more responsibility. You have to be in more places at the same time. And when you add more than one child, the logistics get a little bit cloudier. And so when it came to that consideration of like, he has 80, I have 20, I have 50, and not as far as characteristics, but as effort. So like I could be running on 100. I can get these boys ready, go to school, get all the things I do at home, go pick them up. Or I might be tired. I'm only giving like 70. And so then he makes up the rest to make sure. Or maybe we are also both running at 20.
So how y'all manage that?
We're going to sit in front of the TV. We ordering food.
Okay.
The boys going to bed early. And we're going to maintain whatever it is that day and try again the next day.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
And you also need to remember, you all were here before the children.
Yep.
And when the children leave, it will still just be you all. So if you are not intentionally connecting throughout that whole time, having space without them kids, then when it comes to y'all being alone by yourselves, y'all are not going to know what to do. And that's why I feel like people who get divorced after like 20, 25 years, that is often a play. Is that they didn't keep that connection between them. And so now their whole lives were their children and now the kids are gone and they don't know what to do.
So how do y'all connect? Somebody asked that. So how do y'all connect? Sex. Okay.
Y'all need to have more. Y'all need to have more sex. Y'all not having enough sex. It's a physical aspect of coming together, but then all of the emotion and the mental things that go with it as well, that connects a bond. And I know for a man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for a lot of times it becomes a monotonous ritual for people. Oh, I know I should be doing it, so we'll find the time to do it sometime, or we'll schedule it once during the month. Once during the month is crazy, but it has to be an intention of spending time together. It's more than just the physical act. It's the preparation that goes into it. It's the mood setting. The mood setting. Texting, and the mood setting is like throughout the entire day. Texting somebody during work and saying, hey, I'm looking forward to when you get home. Just that sets the mood for somebody to say, you know what, I'm not going to linger at work like I usually do because my wife is at home waiting for me.
Yes.
And even if sometimes after that mood setting, it's not executed on based on tiredness of kids or schedule or just something that comes up, you recognize that person is still invested in you. They spent that time during the day thinking about you, and eventually it will be reciprocated. So when it does happen in that same day, it allows the foreplay that leads up to it to be more intentional, and it allows that time to be something spent together and not just a moment.
Yeah, that's a good one. They say foreplay starts in the morning.
That's a really good way to look at
For
it.
a lot of like women and
And you know, it takes for men and women, it takes a little bit longer depending on what it is to warm up and get into that space too. So those things, the playful, oh, you looking good in that, or wear that dress when I get home, that kind of stuff, you know, oh, he likes this dress, so I'm gonna buy more dresses that he likes. That leads to more connection, you know. He says that he likes this meal, so I made this meal, so when he get home, let me cater to you, you know, the whole setup. Those kind of things, you know, it creates memories, it sets mood, it sets standards for one another. Those are things that keep that connection. And then love languages.
Yes.
If you're speaking to me in my love language and I'm speaking to you in yours, I'm always feeling like my needs are getting met.
Right.
And so I don't have to waste extra energy worrying or fussing because I'm good. And if I need something, I tell him and I know that he's going to reciprocate in whatever way that is that I need. And same vice versa. When your needs are met, you have less stress, you have less worries, you have more availability mentally and physical to do the things, whatever that thing is that y'all connect over.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah.
Good point. So to wrap this up, I think we should talk about opposite gender friendships in a marriage. So some people do not believe in it. Some people do believe in it. So where do you all stand with that?
You go first as the main.
Well, for me, it's funny because you're my main friend of another sex. But I've known Bacola since 6th grade. And I think an important piece of our relationship as me being a married man has been the intention of making sure that those people, those individuals of another sex know my wife, that my wife is privy to those relationships, and vice versa. I have a lot of her male friends that she's known since before I existed, that she knows that they're good people. She knows that they are people that respect the fact that she is married and the fact that she's married to me. So they respect me as a man in this relationship and give me the same courtesy that I try and extend to them of saying, hey, her friends are married as well. I'd love to make sure that we have a working relationship so that my wife can continue to be a good friend to other people. Because my wife is a great friend. Yes, she's my great friend and best friend, but she is a good friend to other people. And that should not just be women, but that should be all people.
Right.
So I think the intention of making sure that there are clear lines of transparency and the intention of others, because everybody does not have good intentions. And we have to be cognizant of that and respect that factor. And I think a lot of times we don't respect the fact that we're aware that certain people don't have good intentions with us. But it's up to you as a person in that relationship to say, I'm going to hold myself accountable to respecting my spouse.
So what boundaries do you feel like people need to put in place to make sure, like, you know, these opposite gender friendships stay, you know, just that, friendships?
When you hear speak that is leading towards a way that is not friendly, when we are, you know, you just kind of start wavering into that gray zone, that gray area, or you notice people are trying to like test the water, immediate firmness. You can't, oh, well, he did a couple of times, but I just ignored it. You have to set, again, like I said, you have to let the people know where you stand from the jump. And so that if they cross that line, remember when I told you that I do not allow that kind of speak? We're not text messaging after 10 o'clock. You don't need to, there's no expectation of him or me because we're friends. This is my husband. He will always come first. You set those standards and maintain them from jump. People will know. I don't think we've ever really been tried because we set that boundary and we set standard quick.
Yeah.
We know, no, we're not doing that.
Or you just have good friends who have sense.
Oh, and also people who respect you. And y'all are friends for a reason, right? And so we are friends now.
Yes,
and we go out on double dates.
Yes, we do.
And we do different things. And there are other people that in passing, we're like, you know, we need to go out so we can hang out. And those are the other things, you know, you might be of the opposite sex, but we have those other things in common, and we can still enjoy good friendships, especially ones you've already maintained, you've already had before, and grow together.
So that was our first installment of Conversation with Friends. I hope you guys loved it. It was very lovely talking to both Branson and Dinah. They're super intelligent. I love speaking with smart people, okay? And so they're super smart, and the conversation just flows. And so I hope you guys learned something. Marriage is beautiful, can be beautiful, especially when it's with the right person. Just because you're in a marriage, that doesn't mean it's going to be a perfect marriage, but it can be a healthy marriage. And healthy marriage includes conflict too, but it's about skills and tools and all that stuff. So thank you guys once again. Any closing words, any advice for the people before we head out?
People are out here enjoying their marriages, and you can too. You just got to put in the work.
Period.
Very much so.
Nice.
And it's worth the work.
It's worth the work. That's a good one. Well, once again, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye.